Hi, my name is Martel Okonji. I'm our Director of Innovations at Safe Place for Youth. I'm a father, I'm a PhD student, and I'm an activist really fighting to end homelessness. And I do that through Safe Place for Youth, which we work primarily with 14 to 24-year-olds who experience housing instability, housing insecurity, and ultimately are experiencing homelessness. So right here in Los Angeles County, we're seeing that there are over 4,000 young people who are experiencing homelessness on the streets every single day. Of the youth experiencing homelessness, we know that 40% of them identify as LGBTQ, which is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender youth, which have no access to the ways that they need to navigate resources due to the social implications of the LGBT community within access centers, drop-in shelters, and housing programs. We're also seeing that there's a disproportionate amount of Black and brown young people who are experiencing homelessness as well too. So our state being that student homelessness exists, we have folks who are Black and brown, our LGBTQ youth, it's so complex, it's so diverse, and so intersectional that we have to be really complex in the ways that we address homelessness at this time in Los Angeles. The complexities that exist within youth experiencing homelessness, we can talk about student homelessness, right? So we have students who are sleeping in their cars that don't have the opportunity to focus in school because they haven't had their basic needs being met, such as food, water, shelter, getting enough rest to pay attention in class. We talk about our foster care young people who are being placed from different home to home to home, not feeling that they have a sense of community, that they could focus on their well-being and actually feel valued within society. So also through those different placements, we're recognizing that they're not getting the independent skills and tools to be able to sustain themselves for their independent living. So those being different challenges between our students and our foster care, and then also our youth who are experiencing the juvenile justice system. We're seeing a lot of young people come out of that system and not being able to navigate resources because one, they haven't had access to education in the ways that we've had. Two, they've been inside of a space that has a culture of them having to push for themselves, so not knowing how to ask for even help and what that looks like. And then three, having a record and being deemed as criminals, so then that way they wouldn't even be able to get all the resources that they need to be able to live the lives that they want to move forward in. And they're young people. So even having the space to have grace to learn, we haven't been able to provide for them. And those are some of those different complexities in how we address youth homelessness. So criminalizing youth looks like we have young people who are finding abandoned places to stay and sleep, to be able to exist. And then we have different folks who are calling police to where then they won't be able to go inside of those spaces, and they're basically arresting everyone for trespassing. So now that's on their record, or some of them also might have gotten a ticket for either jaywalking or trespassing prior, and now there's a warrant out, and now they're also having to deal with that as well too. So we layer and criminalize every single thing that they do when they don't have the needs to be able to exist and to get out of that, right? Even if they have to steal food from the grocery store just to eat for that day, we're criminalizing that activity as well too. So it's a constant way that anything that's based on their survival, we criminalize, and thus therefore our young people aren't even having the opportunity to exist and navigate our systems. So we have tons of organizations, and I'll speak primarily with the organization that I work with, Safe Place for Youth. Right now we are intentional with recognizing that even our young people who are undocumented, who don't have access and resources to be able to find housing, we work with them on recognizing that. So we say, all right, cool, let's do this intake process and identify where you're at in life. What's going on, what challenges do you have, what can you purchase, what can't you purchase, so access to income. And then we be able to generate a plan for them. And those are some of the ways that we are saying, okay, cool, recognizing all the challenges there. And because we move in a holistic approach, we talk about an education plan. We have our employment program as well too, to talk about any type of career exploration and development. So we're looking at a multifaceted approach to say, how do we look at all the different points of a young person to really get the support that they need? And most importantly, not just focus on today, but we're focusing on these long-term impacts to really have some lasting solutions. So other than coming into our organizations and evolving the community by participating and being a part of the community. The other pieces you can do is get involved with your city council, get involved with your neighborhood council. Look at the ways that you can be a voice and an advocate for homelessness. Understand some of the challenges and implications that exist from homelessness, right? We talk about incarceration, we talk about criminalizing, we talk about the lack of basic needs. So having those understandings and then being in these meetings and these spaces where they're making different motions on ordinances and policies and speaking up and saying like, whoa, this is going to impact someone. Like, how are we really truly thinking of how we can make sure that this bill that gets passed also creates more ways we can end homelessness? So I would say those are like one of those first steps. And then other than that, also looking at what resources do you have? So that way you can contribute to the goal of all these other organizations in supporting young people experiencing homelessness. So if you have a home, look at these host home programs and open up your space so that way other folks experiencing homelessness can have a space to sleep in. I'd say get involved in so many real different levels with your county and with the city. To learn more about the challenges of homelessness, which I think is really, really important, and that folks have to say, like, yeah, like what does homelessness really look like? What are the real challenges of homelessness, and why can't someone just fix it? Why can't someone just get a job, right? I think it's really, really important in volunteering and getting involved. What a lot of organizations do before you volunteer is they provide some context and some underlying things that you might not have thought of to really recognize how to understand homelessness and the true impact of that. But then also do your own reading. There's lots of videos. I know like Point Source Youth, which is a national organization doing this work, they put out a lot of videos so folks can really understand like what is homelessness and how do I understand that from my own individual place of being. So I think really educating yourself to understand the narratives of folks experiencing homelessness will truly then get you there. And I think we have to let go of a lot of these big news media stations that are kind of driving some propaganda towards homelessness, but really start with having that conversation with yourself and then really going into community spaces and being open to understanding why someone is experiencing the different hardships in their life.